The top story, the Orange Farm community is on tenterhooks following violent crimes that have rocked the area. Alleged gang battles have resulted in the death of one person and left several others injured. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is in Orange Farm for us, Ziniko, and I know we are still trying to get the full picture of exactly what's unfolded in Orange Farm over the past days. But what do we know so far?
So what we know so far is, Michelle, is that it's two people now who have lost their lives here in Orange Farm. One died over the weekend, and of course, the second person was that boy of the family we spoke to in the past hour. So far, I can confidently confirm that two people have died, have lost their lives. Whether then these incidents are related or not, that is the question. So that's the first part. But also, secondly, Michelle, we understand to be, there are different events that are taking place here, or chain of events that are taking place here. There's a problem of violent crimes inside school premises, and that talks to the issues of basic education. That's where the Department of Education will be coming in. But also there is these two incidents which have taken place outside school premises, which are more responsible when it comes to community safety, but also local stakeholders, not necessarily the Department of Basic Education here in Gauteng. So now we're going to explore and get more details in terms of the incidents which have been taking place inside school premises here in the Val, specifically in the Orange Farm vicinity or district when it comes to education district. So we are joined now by Mr. Steve Mabona, who's the spokesperson of the Department of Education here in Gauteng, to get more clarity in terms of the numbers, in terms of these incidents and when those incidents took place, but also what is the state of the education here in the Orange Farm. He joins me now. Mr. Mabona, thank you very much, sir, for your time. Let's just start with the basics. Talk to us about the incidents you are aware of as the Department of Education and the nature of those incidents, and where are we now in terms of these violent incidents in schools?
No, the incidents, they mirror what is happening in the communities. We can't divorce schools from the community. You can tell that the incidences would have started on a weekend, and some of the children who are believed they are gang members, they then started fighting among themselves. And because the fights would have started in the communities, so it will be more of your revenge that one want to, exercise while they're in our areas. I mean, today there's an incident that occurred in Vulanindlela, where one child was stabbed there. But we understand that 4 of the children were involved in that fight. But when you check, these fights are interlinked one way or the other because there's gang violence that is happening in this area. That's why we are drifting more into the security cluster to say, assist us to patrol. And we have that assurance from the police that they will patrol this area. And that's why we want to call upon those children that are afraid to come back to school. They must come back to school because the police gave us an assurance that they will patrol in all the schools that are affected and those that are not, because it moves from one school to the other.
Yes. Just before we move on to the safety of the learners when they need to return to the school, so you can confirm that there's no death that has happened or incident that has led to death of a learner which had happened here in one of your schools?
Definitely, we can confirm we don't have a fatality. As far as we are concerned, the information at our disposal suggests that we don't have that, but we can confirm that we do have learners that were stabbed last week, and today we can confirm one stabbing, and that child was rushed to a clinic. We need to check on the latest, but the perpetrator was then arrested by the police. We're not sure on the latest developments when coming to that. The police should be better placed to give you more on that.
But you're talking about the need for the learners to come back because law enforcement agencies have guaranteed security. What is the state now of the schooling in Orange Farm? Are there any schools that have been closed? And of course, going to the next day, which is tomorrow, can you guarantee that those law enforcement agencies will be present in all the affected schools? Do you also have the number of the affected schools, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the arrest of the buoyed today emanate from the patrollers that are within our schools. So they assisted dearly. That's why I'm saying we can see they are there. That's why we call upon learners to come back, be in the classes, and up until we go on recess for the long weekend, but then also need to come back. Because remember, we just opened for term 2. So there's a lot of work that we need to do. We cannot afford our schools being disrupted. I can assure you that most of our schools are disrupted since yesterday. Today, many children did not come to not only this school, this one, Vulenendlela, and some of the primary schools that are close to the 2 schools did not go to school.
I mean, talking about the primary schools, do you have, and you might not have the specific ages of these individuals who are behind these attacks, but the age group, are we talking about learners who are still in primary school or high school, or is the mixture of both?
Look, majority is the high school, and well, in primary schools, probably they are just, afraid to go to school, but we didn't have any incidences that are coming from primary schools. But we know that the level of attendance is quite low because maybe probably children they fear for their lives and all that.
I mean, we've got students who are doing their grade 12. They need to prepare. Are there any plans to ensure that at least they are able to be catered for? And what is the situation now with their afternoon classes and all other preparations they need to do for their final examinations?
No, I'm monitoring the situation very closely. As you will know that at some point we had schools that were performing very low in this area. We had to identify all of them and take them to a camp. And I know specifically there's a school that we took to a camp for 3 to 4 weeks. But we are monitoring the situation very closely. You know that we do camps. We will then be in a position to decide whether we're going to take some of the learners that would have been identified. Because don't take everyone. We look at the performance and check those that are probably in the red, make sure that we push them. There are learners that will be progressed, from grade 11, and you need to make sure that those ones, they make it. So we are monitoring the situation very closely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mabona, for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much there. Michelle, that's Mr. Steve Mabona there, who speaks for the Department of Education here in Gauteng, just really raising concerns about the low turnout of students, especially after these incidents which have taken place in this particular week, but also saying that as far as they understand, there might be a link or relation between these incidents which are unfolding in different communities, but also how they spill over to school. And of course, that's where you see some of those incidents happening inside school premises, especially when it comes to incidents of stabbing, confirming that actually there was an incident just this morning at one of the schools here. And of course, that victim of that stabbing is currently in hospital, but also the perpetrator is being arrested. So that's the situation here. So we'll turn now our focus, Michelle, to community members. Remember, the last person who spoke to the family member did say that, well, despite the sins or alleged sins of her brother, she does not believe that the brother deserved, to be killed in such a manner, and that the community members should also not fold their arms, despite what they allege those young boys had done. So we'll be speaking to the community members now to get their alleged involvement in these incidents, but also what their frustrations are, and to also respond to some of the allegations made by some of these committee members. So that's what we'll be focusing on in the next hour or so.